And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, live on the Philippe Matthews Show after hours. Oh my God, this is great. It's after hours. It's a great show. I've got one of my favorite persons in the whole wide world, a great, great friend. We did a radio show together on my radio show, I don't know, I don't know how many years ago. And we just recently reconnected because of a mutual friend of ours passed away, Denise Matthews. We're going to talk about that. And her name is Latia Del Riviero. She's a 5'2", 135-pound dynamo of fitness, and she's just absolutely fabulous. All the way in Canada. What part of Canada, Latia?
Vancouver.
Vancouver. How are you, my dear?
I'm well, Philippe. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You're looking great, looking better than me, which is what it's supposed to be.
I don't know about that.
If I look better than you, something went wrong. You know what I'm saying? So, we always laugh and joke about fitness and fun and fetish and all of that great stuff. Now, and this is your first live Google Hangout, or
yes,
around the world live right now. Everybody, hey. And what I want to know, and I don't think I've ever known, is, are you native Canadian?
No, I'm not native Canadian. I have a few different mixes in my bloodline.
Well, are you going to share, or are you just going to leave it there? That's intriguing now. What does that mean?
Well, my mom's got, let me see, she's got Mexican, Filipino, Romanian, and on my father's side, we have Egyptian blood with also Spanish. So it's Latin, Egyptian, Asian, which is Romanian and Filipino, and the Mexican. So it's quite a bit of Latin.
Okay, so are you born and raised in Vancouver?
No, I was born in the Philippines,
Okay.
then traveled to Europe, and then eventually came to Canada.
Wow. Okay, that's wait. Okay, I want to know. You have brothers and sisters?
Yes, I do. I have my brother. He's about 10 years younger than me. He used to train with me, and I have a couple of cousins that are kind of like adopted sisters, if you know what I mean.
Nice. Yeah, of course I do. We have to. It's family. Family sometimes is what you're born into. Sometimes you just have to make them up.
Oh yeah.
So, sometimes you have to adopt them. That's I understand that and appreciate that. Now, anybody who has ever, including myself, has ever seen photos of you, and I remember seeing photos of you in the magazines because that's what I used to watch Muscle and Fit. I used to get Muscle and Fitness and Flex and all of those, and I was like, oh my God, who is this? I've had Sharon Bruneau on the show, I've had Dunlap on the show, Linda Murray, Miss Olympias, and when I would look at your photos, even now, nobody would ever believe that you just wasn't really into fitness. You wasn't athletic. Walk us through that story, because I guess the wrong stars would have aligned, you would have become an FBI profiler. Is that right?
Right. Exactly. That was what I was aiming to become.
Now, who is Cujo here in the screen?
Cujo.
What happened? Are you all right? Are you safe? Oh my God.
Yes.
Look at the size of that thing.
Oh no, this is nothing. She's Maza, look over there. Look. She's got one blue eye, one brown eye. She's a part pit and Catahoula leopard and boxer.
Sounds like one of my uncles.
And she's incredible. This dog, she's not even 2 years old, but she's so smart and so protective. But
how much does she weigh?
She only weighs, I believe, 60 pounds right now, but she's still a puppy, right? She's not even 2 yet.
Wow, only. Okay. Gosh, she's beautiful. She's absolutely beautiful.
And I also got a King Corso too.
Wow. All right. Well, we know about you and all of your exotic stuff. We're going to get into that, But no, go back. Tell us the story about, growing up, because you had, is it true you had a heart condition?
Yes, I did. It started off, I believe it was like a heart murmur in the beginning. And,
how old were you?
Oh boy. 10,
okay.
11.
Okay.
And, I would have blackouts, couldn't breathe properly. So they weren't sure what was going on. So they had me go into the hospital. They tested me, blah, 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 blah. And then I had a specialist who wanted me to stay out of school for a while, and did that. I went back to school, and as a young kid, I was really very shy. I was like one of those, I call them bubblegum giver. I was a bubblegum giver. If I had anything and you wanted it, you could have it.
Oh, wow.
I wanted everybody to be happy, but of course, the bullies really thought that was great. But anyway, so I went back to school with the instruction that I couldn't play PE or anything, or I was going to drop dead. And
Wow.
so, yeah, so then I became
What did
more.
that do for your esteem?
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't like PE anyway. I thought it was stupid. I was so happy not having to do PE because all the girls there, I didn't like any of them. Yeah, because I was very shy, and there was one thing that the teacher used to always make us do, play volleyball, and I always had long nails. I don't know if you knew that, but so when the ball would come, I
Oh
just
boy, you're ducking because you don't want to mess up those nails.
no.
That is
At
too
11,
funny.
11 years old, I had long nails. So, but yeah, so basically, I was quite happy that I didn't have to do PE, but then the kids in school used that to torment me, and they would gang up on me and make fun of me. And yeah,
Really? So you were really bullied as a child?
oh, really bullied. I was bullied for looking different. I was bullied. I mean, there were a few, not many black kids, not many. I guess maybe it's because it was predominantly like a white school,
Mm-hmm.
but there were Orientals, and I think there were a couple of Nigerian kids. I mean, so really, I was kind of like the only one that kind of looked like the mixture that I was, and I think that's what they didn't like. A lot of German kids, a lot of German European
Mm,
kids, but it's just how things happen sometimes, and
sure.
yeah, I didn't mind. But see, that was
They
one
wouldn't if
school.
they're watching. They ain't gonna mess with you now.
Every school I went to was like that, though. Oh, you'll never believe this. When I went to the high school, okay, same thing. I still wasn't playing any sports. The gang in the school. This was grade. I believe it was grade 10, 9, 10. So I don't know. You guys call it differently in the states, but uh, the kids that were making fun of me and bullying me were actually uh, East Indians, a few whites, and the Chinese.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. So you got it
Browns.
across. You got it from everybody.
Yeah, yeah, and that's probably and it was probably a good thing that that happened, because then I saw that it wasn't just one color, that could be a
Mhm.
racist or prejudice against me. I saw that it's just when you have a group that are acting a certain way, if there's a leader and the leader is bad, and I paid attention to a lot of that stuff psychologically, that if the leader is bad, that leader can actually make the pretty good-hearted kids do a lot of nuts such
Mm,
things,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm. Peer pressure.
So yeah, and then during school I was dancing. I was a competitive dancer for
So
couples dancing.
now, how did you do the dance? How did you make the transition from not being able to do exercise to dancing? What was
Oh,
it? Was there some kind of a epiphany that occurred or something?
no, not really. What happened was, like about 13, 14, I thought, well, I can't do PE, but the doctor didn't say I couldn't dance, and I certainly wasn't going to ask him for
Nice.
permission, because then I just kind of went about it the sneaky way. So I just started dancing, and won some competitions with my dance partner, and went on from
What
there.
style of dance?
Uh, you know what they do now with the well, they've been doing it a while. Dancing with the Stars,
Yeah.
kind of dancing, ballroom dancing, couple dancing. We used to do adagios, that's flips up in the air,
Wow.
twirls, splits. Like, because I only weighed 90 pounds back then, so my training or my dance partner would just flip me around, and I could twirl really really fast, and so yeah, it was fun. So we won Western Canadian Championships, and that gave us a trip to uh, Los Angeles, which we were supposed to be on. Do you remember Danny Terio's Dance Fever?
Yeah, I sure do.
That we were supposed to be on there.
Wow.
Yeah, we flew there. Now this is the story you'll like. We flew there, but they stopped filming for the season. So my dance partner said, "Well, here we are in LA for what are we gonna do?" I go, "I don't know." And he said, "Okay, well maybe I can try and get us on American Bandstand." So we got on American Bandstand, and him and I, excuse me, we got the spotlight dance. I met Janet Jackson there because her
Oh,
sister Latoya was doing her first debut album. I couldn't
wow.
believe it. So I met Latoya and I met Janet then. And if I could get a hold of the footage of that, because I did the rate the record thing, you
Yeah,
know, and yeah, so it was
that is awesome. That totally rocks.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if they still have they keep those tapes. They must.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they
Yeah.
do. But gosh, there must be like thousands of them.
Yeah, oh for sure. Yeah, yeah, that's true. But I mean, it just happened so that that was the day that Latoya Jackson did her debut.
Wow, that's so cool.
So they can find it if I could tell them that they could probably find it. But I don't
No,
know.
I'm sure. I'm sure. So you were dancing, and so when and where did uh, the the goal of of working for the feds came in?
Oh, that wow, that was instilled in me like at a young age because my dad was former Interpol.
Ah,
So
okay.
okay, and basically I was really interested in psychology. I was always like that, even as a kid, and even my family all thought I was weird. So I started with that, and because dad was a former Interpol agent, he would tell me things, la la la, you know. So I said to him one day, I go, well, Dad, you know, I'd really like to pursue this
Hmm.
avenue as a career, and he advised against it. And I told him, I said, well, you know, I mean, I'm studying the psychology thing, and what I really would like to do is to be a profiler, not so much of a field agent like he was, because it's dangerous. But you know,
Hmm.
to be a profiler and to somehow kind of get into profiling, serial killers and why,
Hmm.
and then of course, the idea became even grander the older I got. And then when I started taking it very seriously and, taking classes and going to school specifically for that, um, we'd have to do like all these assignments. And even my professors thought, okay, you're just too good with this. Maybe should not do this. Yeah, yeah.
Wow,
And
that is
there's,
awesome. The original blacklist, ladies and gentlemen, right here on the show, right?
yeah. So, but I'm kind of glad that I didn't, and that I went the other way, pursue bodybuilding or the acting and the singing instead, because I think that if I would have done it, I think that I would still be doing it today. And the percentage of the how much and how quickly a person burns out in that job is really
Hmm.
serious. Like I forget the name of that top profiler. He was the top, and all of a sudden his world just crashed. I forget his name, John something. But he was like the top profiler, and he just lost it a few times, and now he doesn't do anything.
Wow. So how was your health during all of this time, and how did you make the transition? Because you're kind of like a walking little miracle.
Yeah, I guess so. Yes, yes, a walking miracle. The my physical feeling became better. Of course, the sense of strength was coming in, and I was able to do this. So actually, so what started that really was the dancing, and then
Hmm.
from the dancing, my dad, because I used to always complain about, I'm so skinny, blah blah blah. So my dad said to me, oh well, I know exactly what you should be doing. And I said, well, what? Because I saw these girls on TV and they got muscles. And so he showed me Miss Olympia, I think with Kiki Aloma and Rachel McClish and all them guys back in the
Wow.
70s. And so I was like, oh yeah. And I fell in love with my dad's idea because I idolized my dad. My dad was like my dad, the cool guy. So I mean, he tells me to do something, I did whatever. So I got into the working out. But remember, I was 13, so you couldn't join a
Mm.
gym. And my dad always had these huge calves, right? I loved his calves. I don't know why, but I had no calves at the time. But he said to me, he goes, "Oh, you want calves like these?" So he takes two encyclopedia books. He goes, "This is all you do, and you stand against the wall, and you go up and down on your toes." And I go, "How many times do I have to do that?" And he goes, "As many times as you can until you can't walk." Well, he was probably saying that figuratively speaking, but that's exactly what I
You
did.
took it literally.
I couldn't walk for 3 days. He was in trouble with my mom. Let me tell you, my calves were like seized like this. They couldn't. Oh God, it was so much pain, so much pain. But because of that, I actually started walking on my. I don't know if you've ever really seen what my feet can do. They're super flexible. They're almost like alien feet. Like I have high arches. Yeah, seriously. Oh no, they're high. I have very high arches, and I actually walk on my toes. When I
Wow.
sit, yeah, and when my comfortable position for sitting down is my feet are never flat on the floor. They're always up.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We'll get into that later. But because it's about fetish and fitness, ladies and gentlemen. That's what the show is about. This is who the guest is. She's the greatest. So you're 13 and you're you're doing all of these calves and everything, and you couldn't join a gym, but that kind of sparked your father. I guess was essentially responsible for you starting to lift weights.
Absolutely.
Wow, I didn't know
Yep.
that.
Yep. And then he teased me because I was so I was getting into the competition stuff, and my dad was funny. Yeah, he's just like, well, I'd tell him, well, Dad, it's your fault. You're the one that, remember, you told me about, bodybuilding. And he goes, yeah, well, I wanted you to get into it, but I never told you to, totally do nothing else but that. Because he still wanted me to, either become a lawyer or get my linguistics in France, like he had big dreams, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's good to have dreams. I mean, I really wanted to fulfill my parents' dreams, but there were things that I always wanted to do as a child, and lucky for me, I've been blessed that when I wanted to get into the singing, the dancing, even I think I might have mentioned it to you one time. I wanted to be a contortionist before because I'm super flexible.
I didn't know
No,
that. No.
no, oh yeah. So my dad was very supportive about that, and he used to, put me in the box, and all my joints, like,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So I could have done so many different things, and it was fun that my parents never stopped me from doing anything that
Nice.
I wanted to try. I mean,
Nice.
but they were very strict though. Like I come from a very strict, very well disciplined, strict. At the age of oh gosh, 6 years old, you knew the rules, and whatever you do, don't break the rules, because if you break the rules, and there's you're going to be accountable, and so that was drained into my head, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I'm pretty thankful that my parents kind of just they had their dreams for me, and that was good, but they didn't mind that I did what I wanted to do, because ultimately they wanted me to feel like I lived my life.
Sure. Sure. So when did you start seriously training?
Seriously training, just prior to turning 18. I watched Flashdance. I don't know if I told you
Oh,
this.
I love that. Yeah.
Oh,
Everybody remembers Flashdance. That was the joint. Yeah.
that was.
Yeah.
So me and my roommate at the time, we had a one-bedroom apartment right by the beach. We saw Flashdance, and I said to her, Jenny, this was my best friend at the time, Jenny, we really got to do this. Like, we got to change our bodies. So yeah, every day we put the headband on, and the ripped shirt. We copied everything from the movie, and in front of the mirror, we'd be shaking.
Oh, she's a maniac.
The
Man. Oh
media,
my
that's
God.
it. That's the song. And
Oh
we
my
do
God.
that
How do I
repeated.
remember that, people? I don't know.
Oh my gosh. And then, because also around that time I was dancing single now, and not just adagio dancing, but I was single dancing, going into competition. So I did a lot of talent competitions in the city, all around town. And I actually used that Flashdance, you know,
Okay.
what is it? Yeah, it's What a Feeling, where she takes the water and it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I won a couple of dance competitions with that song and twirling. So I can mimic really well. I don't like, I'm a choreographer now. I've been for a long time, but I nobody taught me how to dance. I'm actually self-taught.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Well, there was no money. There was no money to go to school. You know, I mean, at, at, at my age, at our age, right? You know, we look at our parents. Our parents, it was a different time,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So, not like these days. These days, like, I look around and I go, how can people even like you know, give their kids like hockey lessons, you know, ballet lessons. I'm like, wow, I'm glad I don't have any kids.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. So you started. So it's around 17. You started lifting seriously, and you we obviously
Yes.
got a gym membership. You started going in there, and did you? Was it like a fish to water when you started training? And how did you learn the ropes of training?
Um, you know, the gyms were set up back then. Monday, Wednesday, Friday were ladies' days, and then Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays were men's. So we
I
split
remember
the
that.
gym.
That's funny.
Right. Yeah, the old days. So I would go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I would go in there every day and train legs. And there was a guy, really nice fellow. For the life of me, I can't remember. He's also a bodybuilder. David was his name. Can't remember the last name. But a wonderful brother. And he was the first one that said to me, you know, you have you have the frame that you could do a lot with bodybuilding. You could be a really good bodybuilder, which I thought was kind of insane because the tiny joints. You know, I weighed 90
Hmm.
pounds and I want to gain weight. This is why I'm doing this. Instead, I'm dropping weight. So he was the very first one that gave me encouraging words, and he told me, he said, "I noticed you like working legs." And I go, yeah, I want like really nice legs. I hate my legs. So he had told me, you know, leg extensions, and of course, I didn't know how to use any of the other machines, so he just showed me that one and the hamstring machine. So I would do that for like an hour straight. No wonder I couldn't walk. And then I'd
Yeah,
have,
you think?
yeah, and then I'd have to take the bus, like two buses home to get home. Two
Wow.
buses each way. Yeah, no, it's but it was good. Like I like the fact that I had to work hard to actually make it to the gym, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Because then it meant something to me, right? I mean, I don't know, I was just a very
And then you
different.
started seeing results probably right away. Your
Oh,
body.
absolutely. Yeah. And I started taking pictures about every 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. And I mean, nobody else could see it, of course. I could see it, you know, in
Hmm.
front of the mirror. I'd be like, wow, look at there's something right there. I see it. And my roommate's like, where? I go, it's right there. She's like, oh yeah, I see it. And I'm like, now you're not, you're just lying. Right. But she says, no, 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 it's coming, it's coming. Don't worry. So I'll take pictures. And I always made sure that every 4 weeks when I took the pictures, so weighed myself, this and that. So I was my first client. I treated me very special in that way. Every 4 weeks that I completed training, I would buy myself like a $5 or $10 gift. So
Nice.
yeah, yeah, you know. So I thought, because I was kind of used to not having a lot of encouragement. I mean, my parents encouraged me, but like the rest of my family, they they didn't really like what I did.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
teased me a lot about it, but so and back then there were a lot of women that really, they were either, you know, super into it or they weren't into it.
Hmm.
So I couldn't even ask for help from anybody because they were like threatened that I would be a competition for them, which
Sure, sure.
I never even thought about competing. And why would I even, like, you know, if I were a woman that was already have a title and say I weighed 150 pounds, fully muscled, nice and curvy, and then I see a girl that's 90 years old, 90 pounds, and I see that, oh yeah, she could be really good.
Hmm.
why
Hmm.
why would I think negatively about that girl and not want to help her? You know
Sure.
what I mean? Like, to me, I think, oh, she's a long ways away from where I am, but I could probably help her. That's how I always kind of wondered why nobody wanted to help me. And
Mm-hmm.
so when as I got more serious into the bodybuilding, I always tried to help other people because I know what it feels like not to have anyone want to help you.
Sure, sure. So how long did you train before? I mean, before you started, did somebody approach you and say you should probably enter a contest?
No, actually, here's another one. I saw a girlfriend of mine who's been like a good friend of mine forever. I believe this was 1984. It's 1984. She competed and she became Miss Vancouver and Miss BC. Her name is Shindy Sahota. So she was my first female like live where when I saw her I was like, wow, she looks fantastic, and she was about my height, and I that's when I knew I wanted to get on stage.
Okay, so she kind
one
of became a
one day.
role model for you.
Yes, she'll be happy when she hears this.
We'll get this to you, Cindy, somehow. We'll make sure
Yeah,
you get
right.
this.
She'll be
So
laughing.
so so you saw her perform on stage, and how did so how soon was it after that you said, hey, I want to do this, I want to go on stage too? How soon did you enter your first contest? How did you learn how to pose and do all of that?
Oh wow, yeah, that's another thing. That took me another 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So just about 4 years because it was going into 1988, late of 1987. Um, what happened was I was going to school in New York, and I decided, I'm going to do the show, but I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want my dad to know. So only Shindy knew, my girlfriend Jenny, my brother, and we had to sneak out of the house. I remember the day of the competition, which is the weigh-in, or in the morning show, the prejudging. We're like sneaking out at 6 o'clock in the morning, taking all these bags, right? Food and you name it. And my dad wakes up and he goes, huh? He goes, where are you guys going so early in the morning? And my brother pipes up and he says, oh, Dad, we're going to the mall. And my dad goes, the mall? He goes, why, you got bags? What do you have in those bags? Oh, no, they're just like bags so that we could put stuff in them. It was so funny. My dad thought we were going to the mall because my brother says we were lining up early in the morning to buy stuff. My dad was half asleep. He didn't put two and two together. Anyway, we got away, and okay, I did my first competition, and not without a hassle though, because they. Do you remember the moon pose a long time ago?
The moon
Uh,
pose?
the moon pose when
Pose.
athletes, yeah, when athletes would like Tom Platz used to do it, where he would bend back, like show everybody's hamstrings and glutes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, Barry DeMay was the first guest poser that I ever met. And him being Dutch, and my dad, my stepdad, my dad was Dutch, so I was talking a little bit of Dutch and stuff, and he says to me, he goes, "Oh, so they're checking your bathing suit tonight, right?" I said, "Yeah," which is black. It was so tiny because nobody told me that there was a guideline that you couldn't show your glutes.
Oh, wow.
So, but they looked up my bathing suit. They looked and they said, okay. Well, then I got on stage for the my routine, and I did that.
Oh,
And
great.
the
This is
crowd was
wonderful.
going crazy. Yeah, and then the head judge, I thought he was going to have a heart attack. He comes running up to me and he goes, I could ban you for doing that. You can't do that pose. We just took that out. I said, well, I said, this is my first show. Nobody told me I couldn't do that pose. That bathing suit's got to go. You have to, otherwise you can't go back on stage. And I'm like, well, you guys looked at the bathing suit. I said, if you want me to wear another bathing suit, you have to find me one that fits me because I only weigh 90 pounds.
Wow.
I mean, seriously, right? So one of the girls like, here, you can use this. And I'm like, I'm going to be swimming in that thing. I'll be, I'll be falling out of it. It's like this big. 90 pounds will not fit there. I'd have to stick all my body in that, just in the bikini part. But anyway, so that was really good, and I ended up, they let they let me go in the night show because I told them, I said, you know what, and that was like a little arrogance on my part when I got angry, because they were like telling me I can't do this, I can't do that. But as far as I was concerned, if you told me it was okay last night, then you have to let
Right.
it go today, right?
Right.
So I told them, I said, well, I go, I said, I don't care. I don't have to come back on the night show. Well, yeah, but then you won't win. I said, I already know I won. I just,
Nice.
you know what I mean? I was like, I don't need the trophy for me to feel like a winner, because I saw my competition. I came in the best shape that I could be, and I was the best for my weight class. And that was that. But then they said, the moment I said, I don't care. You just losing a lightweight, Vancouver's best lightweight. That's basically what I said. I'm gonna go compete in the States. Oh, right away it came back with, no, okay, well, let's just like, we can try something. We just want to see you in a different bathing suit if you have it. Well, I
Hmm.
didn't have it.
Hmm.
So and then I won that, and then the best poser, and then so I was happy with one show, and then another, a Miss Canada at the time, Donna Lee. She was another great motivator for me, because she was the one that pushed me to continue. She said, well, why don't you do the BCs? And I'm like, no, I was happy with the Vancouvers. I only wanted to do one show. She's like, what are you afraid of? And I'm like, well, that's like, I'm not afraid of anything. But she's like, well, then prove it, prove it. So she kept challenging me, and I thought, okay, I'll do one more show. One more show turned to another one, until before I, before I knew it, I was actually Canadian level already, national level. It went so
Wow.
fast. Yeah. And for a
Wow.
small girl, like a very lightweight, I was
Now,
actually,
did you pack on muscle? Because you said that first competition you were still like 90 pounds. Was there a
yeah.
point where you started to pack on muscle and,
It took four
and gain
years.
weight?
It took, let me see, so 91, and then I got up to 101.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, but that took at least not pure muscle. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
101, like off season, and then it kind of
sure.
got
And then you had to, yeah, once you died down. Yeah.
97, and 101 pounds was my next competition. Yeah, so it took me. I started in 1987, and by the time I was in 1989 Canadian, I was only 107 or
Wow.
106. And but that's like, a lot of shows already, just in a few years, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when I got my IFBB Pro card, I was a lightweight, so I weighed 113 and a half.
Wow. But
And
that's a big deal. I mean, getting your International Federation of Bodybuilding Pro card, that
that was
is
a real
like,
honor.
that's huge.
Yes, it was really very satisfying. It was really nice. I didn't think I would get it, because the way the competition worked out is that, you may win the lightweight, and then the middleweight and the heavyweight, and then they have to compete against one another to win the overall.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you get your pro card. So, but what I thought was, well, I'd already been working and doing choreography and doing guest posing as an amateur. So I thought, you know, why don't I? And everybody knows I could pose. So I thought, when I got my lightweight, I said, Tony Blinn was the president at the time. I said, Mr. Blinn, I said, I don't want to go over your head, and I'd like to get your permission to see if I could contact Mr. Wayne D'Amelia, see if he would, take me as a pro. It's a long shot, but the worst thing you could say was no, right?
Sure. Right.
And then he's kind of like, he's thinking, and he goes, you know what? He goes, yeah, you have my blessing. He goes, you're very marketable. You're good for the sport, right? And I thought that was great. So, but then of course we still have this waiting time, because Wayne D'Amelia would still have to think, and but that didn't take time either. That was just like, he said to me, send me some pictures from the show. I did, and right away he goes, yeah, now you're now IFBB. I'm like, my heart. I thought, Couldn't believe it.
Wow.
I picked up the phone and I was just shaking like, but it was, it's nice accomplishment, right?
That's a great accomplishment. So
Yeah.
after that, I mean, literally, you were in all of the magazines. You were on all of the stages. It was absolutely amazing seeing that. And I love my life because there's so many people I grew up with watching and looking at in magazines or seeing on television that now I know, and it's just way cool because I got into bodybuilding. Oh gosh, I don't know. I was just decades and decades ago, and it was just a way out and a way to relieve stress, and
Right.
also want to look good for the ladies.
Yeah, of course.
So oh gosh, I'm sure I've made Flex magazine and Joe Weider and all those guys millions of dollars because I bought every magazine, every poster,
Yeah, right.
all the supplements, you just name it. I was absolutely insane. Um, so now you are a professional bodybuilder and you continue to compete. What was the largest how much muscle did you pack on, and what was the largest weight that you had when you were competing?
Competed? I got up to 116 pounds, I think.
Wow.
That's the heaviest. My first pro competition was the Jantanas. That was in 1991 or 92, sorry, and then another Jantana in 1993, and that was it. I kind of, from that show, I kind of thought, I would have to make certain decisions, right? That I'm not sure I'm really comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
And I had other things I really wanted to follow up and do, but I kept on training even though I stopped competing. That's all I stopped competing. I kept training and I got more busy with the business part, right? I mean, most of the times when they take your magazines, every pictures in the magazines, as everyone thinks, oh, you get a lot of money. No, most of the times you got to do it for free.
Wow.
And which, yeah, which for me, I just it didn't sit well with me that, well, if you're making money, then because of my pictures or because of a certain thing that I'm doing for you or with you, right? Why can't I be making some money too?
Sure.
And for me, I would have like three jobs while competing. Like I actually worked like three different jobs just so I can pay for my way for the car. So I did it the long way. I guess if somebody was to ask me, would you do it all over again that way? I would probably have to say yes, because by doing it the long way, the way I did it, I
Mm-hmm.
don't owe anybody anything.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's
That's
really
nice.
nice.
You own your brand.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's, it can bite you in the butt as well, because then people don't like you because you don't, what do they say, the expression? They think you think you're too good or something. You're not
Mhm.
sharing, you're not,
Mhm.
doing
Well,
whatever.
we can. This is Philippe after hours. You could just say they don't. You don't kiss ass.
Yeah, yes,
I'll
absolutely.
say it for you. How about that?
I like that. Yes, yes. But I just
You don't sell out. You don't kiss ass.
I don't kiss ass.
Yeah.
I don't kiss ass.
We will leave that alone right there, Latia. We will leave that alone. I know Andrew's in the back giggling. I don't want him coming on. So, but this is a great segue. So here's the thing. So now, also, before we go into the fetish part of your career, you were a martial artist as well.
Yeah, I never got a belt or anything. No colors. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
What and you swords and knives. What or arts did you study?
Well, okay. Started with a little bit of judo. Then it was taekwondo, like then karate. To be honest with you, I don't even know which is what anymore, because for every time that I took the lessons, it was always private, and I didn't want to. I wanted to learn the katas all the time, just so that there's like construction blocks in my head. I wanted to understand it like dancing, for example, right? So that I
Mhm.
wasn't just like, oh, it's all for the conditioning, you know. I did Muay Thai as well, so I can incorporate the different parts of the stuff that I learned from Taekwondo or karate or judo, whatever. You know, I can put it all together and
Mhm.
make a completely something different, which I like, right?
Kind of like Bruce Lee.
Yeah, kind of like Bruce Lee.
Get out of here, Andrew. This is her show.
Not quite.
Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We love Andrew. We got to do a show with Andrew.
Oh, he's so funny.
So you've done martial arts, and now obviously, because you know some people are offended by the word exotic, but you're very exotic and still are. And I remember years ago interviewing Sharon Brunel.
Right.
And that was the first time that I ever met anybody who mixed fetish with fitness. And she did all of these elaborate fashion shoots and video shoots and photos, and she was absolutely amazing. And you have done the same. For the people who might be watching this for the first time that are not your core audience,
Right.
what is Fetish Fitness? And how do you blend the two together?
Okay, my definition of it might not be the same as everybody else's, but fetish fitness for me is it can range from, and this is just like my opinion only, um, fetish fitness, uh, taking a body part or using a certain body part because it's got to be something to do with fitness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe a set of calves or biceps, right?
Mm-hmm.
And using it to being able to sell that particular body part. It's gosh, how can I explain this? I'm trying to word it properly. Well, okay, it's the same. It's a body part is a body part. So when we look at a woman's breasts or legs, glutes, right? That's a body part, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
now you just say fetish. That just means don't count those that everybody else. That's normal. It's not that I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying fetish isn't normal, but there are a lot of people that are into feet, for example,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, hands, into hands. I
Mm-hmm.
actually have a couple of fans that just love my hands. Or veins, right? You know, I have veiny.
Oh, I didn't hear about
Veiny
that.
hands.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
No,
Sure.
yeah, yeah. And there are some that are because it might be because they like me or they're kind of like mixing the two, but they like my long, kind of creepy fingernails, you know. And
Now, one
when
of
I
the things
paint
I notice about you is your nails are always shaped like a
claws,
they're pointed,
yeah,
like like claws, like a panther or something.
yes, yes. I've always done them like that. I mean, way back in the 80s, like I said, I had long nails even as 10 years old, but already in the 80s, there were people like looking at me like, that's so strange. Like, why do you do it like that? It originated from me, actually. I like them pointy, but because when I was very frail, and I'd be walking down the street, right? I was actually afraid that I could fall into danger, you know, in the dark.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One night when I'm walking by myself, that I thought, you know, if I had, you know, good fingernails and, you know, I can use my fingernails to defend myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like
Mm-hmm.
weapons and they're legal weapons. There's 10 legal weapons here, right? So, and they can hurt like somebody because I put acrylic on mine
Mm. Wow.
and they're strong.
Don't mess with Latia.
No, not with the nails. So that's how I started really getting into making them longer and longer, and I sharpened them a lot. And now it's kind of like the fashion.
Yeah.
Everybody's telling me, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry that I used to make fun of your long, creepy nails. Now it's just a style, you know." And I laugh because my old friends used to say to me, you have such a weird sense of style. I go, yeah, I do. It's just I don't know. If I like something, I don't even care if nobody likes it. Like, do you remember Rick Valente?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one of the Jan Tana shows, which was, I believe, the first one. No, I wasn't competing. I was actually helping Kat Sartor. The dress that I wore, you know how female bodybuilders in shows, they're like half, like they barely have any clothes on. They walk
Right,
around.
right.
Okay. Well, there I was. I looked like a sheik. I took, I t- I had a black lace dress, right? And then I had a scarf that I tied around, and it was really long. It looked like my hair, but it wasn't my hair. It was a scarf, and I just looked really like I was a Middle Eastern. I didn't have the cover. My face wasn't covered or anything. But Jan Tana was like, "Where did you get that outfit?" I said, "Oh, I bought the dress for $10 and the scarf for 14." And
Nice.
everybody, yeah, and you know, and most of the people were like freaking out, thinking like, "Oh my gosh, is that some sort of religious like?" Because it was a long, long black dress, like yeah, button down, long sleeves. You couldn't see anything, and there was Rick Valenti going, "Oh wow, look at you!" And I thought to myself, "Wow, this guy is looking at me, and I got lots of clothes on, and he's just like." He can't see anything, but he's like he was mesmerized, I
Because
guess,
he's
about
used to seeing everything. That's so fascinating. That is
look like
great. Great
a
story.
costume.
Great story. So now, you were featured in a book by Redhead Soul called Digital Sex Work,
Yes,
and it was about because you I don't know if you still do, but you used to do a lot of I guess foot and fitness fetish videos.
yes. I'm still doing the foot videos. And what was your question? Sorry.
So
What?
tell me about the I guess the experience of doing it for a book. What can people find in the book of you?
Oh, I think basically I just shared my experience on how you can make money by doing that, and it's so much fun. And you know, you can do your videos, or there was another site that I did, is it Fiverr or something like that, for
Hmm.
like $5, and they want a picture, a certain, like, you know, whatever calf picture with foot. I always get foot requests, right? But yeah, the digital sex, I forget now, the digital pet, pet what,
Digital sex work.
digital sex work. That just gave me an opening to make, you know, a little bit more extra money as well, right?
Hmm.
So but there are like different
Now, I remember in our radio show interview, you don't because some female bodybuilders and male bodybuilders too, they go pretty far out. You don't do that. You just stick with tame. You don't do nudes. You don't do anything graphic. You don't do any of that stuff. And so, talk to us about that.
well, like I was saying earlier, and you agreed
Not
with me.
knocking if anybody does that or whatever, but
No,
that's just not
no,
your
not at
choice.
all.
Yeah.
I mean, really, sometimes I when I'm all alone thinking to myself, and I'm going, I wish I had a little few, you know, a few more dollars in my pocket. I'm like, damn, I think I'm just too old to be switching now. I didn't sell myself out at 20, not at 30, not at 40. Should I be starting at 50?
And that's the thing. Looking at you, you do not look 50. And for the women looking and for the men looking, you are amazing. If you have, if you can you give a bicep pose there? Because I mean, you are in top shape
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
Look at that.
This is the ripped one. Now, I
Now,
don't know if
so
you
what
can
do you, I
see.
mean? What are you? That's amazing. What do you curl? I mean, what is your workout routine?
I stay with the higher reps because, you know, I'm not trying to get bigger or anything now. I'm just basically trying to keep my conditioning. So I stay with about 15-pound dumbbells, and I curl them for reps, like 25, 30, 35, like higher reps. My training is very fast, so like I'll go into a gym, and I could have everything done in 15 minutes, just like upper body. So I would take, say, dumbbells, do side laterals, do my curls, do front laterals, do hammer curls, and then giant set everything.
So
So I
everything
don't
is like
break.
one huge giant set with all
Yeah,
the. Wow.
yeah, so I go shoulders, triceps, biceps, chest, right? And I'll keep the four of those, or five body parts, and I'll just keep going until I make 100 reps for each. So four
Wow.
sets of 20, but without break. So I'm talking, I go from the shoulders to the biceps to the triceps to the chest, back to the shoulders until I do the, however, 100 reps without resting. Like all four, yeah. And boy, oh boy, I tell you, you can be out in no time.
I'm out just thinking about it right now. Thank God I'm sitting down. Hell, I'm tired. I just did cardio today, and I was there's this hill here where I live called Bannister Park, and there's this super duper steep hill. I mean, it is steep, and what I do is I go down and up about 10 times as fast as I possibly can, and it just absolutely kills me. It's great aerobic conditioning, but listening to you doing this 100 rep superset, that is
Yeah.
amazing cardio as well.
Yes, and that's why I don't have to do cardio. That's actually my secret.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've been
So I
doing it
just
all
do
wrong,
it.
people.
Everyone always asks me, "Oh, how much cardio do you do?" I go, "I don't do any." And I said, "The last time I did cardio was back in 1993." What? I'm like, yeah. I go. I actually one other time I tried to do cardio. I had one of the girls that was training. She's on the cardio, and I thought, oh, I'll just encourage her and get on um the other cardio machine beside her, and we're talking, just like walking, right? And we're talking, and it's like 45 minutes later. I'm like, wow. I go, I actually did cardio, and it's been years since I've done cardio. Well, let me tell you, my body hates it so badly that the next day I had the flu. I go,
Wow.
that's it. I'm never doing cardio again. It's not healthy for me. And my girl was saying, that's because you never do cardio. You got a lot of poison in your body. I go, let me keep my poison to myself. Thank you.
Exactly, exactly. Well, if you've got poison in your body, ladies and gentlemen, we want to keep that poison. No, do we not? That is the best looking poison I've ever seen. That's all I'm saying. So now you do fitness videos and you train people all over the world, literally from from them watching your training videos and what have you. And are you? I know you. We're going to talk about your book. I know you have a book out. Your first novel, and you're working on a second one. Have you ever thought about doing a fitness book?
Yes, actually, that was my first aim, was to do a fitness book. Like, Rachel McClish did one, and Gladys did one. That I wanted to do it. That was the book I wanted to do, something like that, because I thought that, that would be a great way to give back. But then, for some weird reason, I detoured, and then I thought, for the most part of my what I do for a living, being, life coach and a mentor, I work with the mind first. So unless I can get the mind believing and in shape, the body's not going to follow. So I then started writing "Who Am I? I Am You." So to kind of um,
Talk to us about that book. Who am I? I am,
um
and
it's
how
an
that came about.
autobiography of my life to a certain point. I basically talk about uh, certain certain things that made me make a decision about what type of person I'm going to be. Like I'm one of those people. Everything that you see about me, it's all sincere, but it is all by decision. I am who I am today by decision. My dad trained me like that. He said to me, I could be anything. I could be evil, and I could be good. I could be a thief if I want to be. He goes, but whatever you decide, just make sure that you do the best you can and be the best at it. That's all he ever said to me.
Mm.
Hey, if you want to be a criminal, be a criminal. Be good at it, right? So,
Be all you can be. Be the best damn criminal you can be.
exactly. So I made conscious decisions to basically, be a certain way. So it's like, I'm not going to tolerate this. I say I'm not going to tolerate that, and I don't. Or, you know what? I've decided that I'm going to be a forgiving person, which doesn't mean I really am. it means I've decided to become one. So it's always in the process, right?
Well, this is
Oh,
fascinating in terms of mental training, because I don't think people understand the power of decision.
no, they don't.
You know,
I
that's
didn't
what
for
you're
a long
giving right
time.
now, is a really big nugget of power and wisdom of making your mind up, because obviously you're going to have opposing thoughts, opposing experiences,
Yep.
but you have the power to choose.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that when a lot of women, like when men go into the gym, right, they have that natural testosterone that pushes them, because they're men, they're going in there and they've got that conquering spirit, right? Yeah, alpha male, and that's great. But when a woman goes into the gym, well, maybe not now anymore, but before, like, everyone kind of looks around, they have, they're they're
Hmm.
they're all shy and they're embarrassed, you know uh, today it's a little different. It's like completely different than way back. But uh, for me, it's very important that when I try to explain fitness to somebody who's never done it before, I always speak about what they see. Like I ask three things from a person when I have the consultation. I always ask, can you bring a list of foods that you like to eat, and a list of foods that you don't like to eat, and a list of foods that you do eat? What's the difference? Trust me, there's a difference. Because just because you like to eat that food, it doesn't mean that you should be eating it, or vice versa, right?
Hmm.
So, and then also ask, I want you to give me, or cut it out from a magazine, a picture of what you want to look like, and a picture of what you think you look like, and a picture of what you'd look like if you had to pay $1 billion. Not just what
Wow.
you think you could look like, right? And what you look like now, but what you can buy with everything you own. Like I made it
The
really hard.
ultimate body. Yeah.
Ultimate, yeah, exactly. You give your soul for it, right?
Right. Right.
So, and most of them are kind of like, well, this is the body that I think I can look like, and this is the body. What the picture of what they think their body looks like tells me what they're seeing. Is it like reality, or is it, do they think that they're overweight, or do they think they're in better shape than they are? Shows me what they're seeing. And the picture of what they'd like to look like and feel they could look like with some work, that shows me the drive.
Nice.
The picture that they think they can never attain, that's what I always go for. And
Mm-hmm.
right? So I tell them, okay, well, of course they don't know, but I always tell them, I go, okay, so out of these three, this is what we're going to shoot for. But I don't have $1 billion to get that body. I said, you don't need $1 billion. You need this. Just your mind. Your mind will do it for you. And yes, the genetics absolutely has, uh, the biggest um, factor in
Hmm.
are you going to be able to get that type of body or not, right? But if I showed you pictures from before, Philippe, because everybody, they like my calves. I don't know why, but they do. I had no calves, and nobody believes me that I had no calves before.
Yeah.
They
Right.
sure they
Exactly.
they
Sure.
sure yeah, and I decided
And matter
that
of fact, you brought up Tom Platz earlier in the show. He
mm,
had the same situation. He had these skinny little scrawny legs, and he said,
legs,
"I am going to
right?
train my legs to the point he is the
Famous,
renowned, most famous legs in the
right?
world,
Right,
in history, in
exactly.
bodybuilding history."
Yeah, and he still has those legs today.
Yep.
Unbelievable. It's almost like they grew and they never stop growing. They just keep getting better. I don't think he trains all that much anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the great thing
Yeah,
about you is that you have been conditioning for so long. It's just
yeah.
natural. I saw a video of you just walking to the car, and it's like, damn, that is amazing. Granted, you might have just been coming from the gym, but I'm just saying, women, I don't think sometimes can see themselves looking that good, and being literally timeless, extending their life, and just being fabulous in their skin.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right.
Now, you have a book that you're working on,
Yes.
a new book that you're working on. Tell us a little bit about that. If you can,
Okay.
or not giving it
Yeah.
away.
It's mystery, thriller, suspense. I am in the middle of introducing the second character in the book, and it's got something to do with um, kind of like a multiple personality type feel. And where I'm right now is like I'm trying to introduce. It's a lot of mental uh, psychological stuff is the book is actually, oh gosh, oh, I'm lost for words. I can't believe this. I've been asked to describe the book a few times and I always get kind of tongue tied. And yeah, because there's just so much and I haven't been
Is it a
able to.
psychological thriller or?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And for me to be able to actually say something about it would probably go give away too
Sure,
much,
sure. So
right?
what's the timeline like between now and when will your fans be able to get it?
Hmm. I certainly hope not 10 years like the first book. I started this like 2 years ago, 2 years
Okay.
ago. So
Okay.
I'm really hoping. I'd like to, if I had my wish, I would just like to seriously be able to not have to, worry about work and then all the other things. Because when you write, you need to be focused, right?
Sure.
And then you get, you're a writer, you get the writer's block, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden what you thought all of a sudden was gone in your mind. You have to. I'm one of those writers where I
I'm at this
actually.
place right now. It's interesting. I've written 10 books, but I'm working on 10 more simultaneously.
Wow.
And
Oh, okay,
it's
yeah.
kicking my ass because I have to pull back sometimes because some of the books that I'm writing, and maybe this is some advice to you. I don't know, but sometimes what it is that you do have to pull back a little bit. Do life, do whatever, and then
Right.
go back to it. But then sometimes, like for me, I think I overwrite because I have so much content that I want to put in there that the
Right.
book is like 500 pages, and it's like, well, wait a minute now, this is supposed to be a self-help book, not a novel, So you got
Right.
to
Right.
figure that out. But it's like when you have all of these ideas, you start to, I recommend just, 5-10 minutes a day of just maybe recording it and just, dictating it, in a Google
Right.
document or something like that. And
Right.
you will find over a period of time, it just starts to fill up. And then you just go back in there and fill in the blanks.
Right. Right. Yeah. I never really. It's funny. Way back when 2011, my friend was still alive back then. Alan Winkler. I don't know if you've probably seen pictures
I've
of
seen
him.
this. Yeah, I've seen it on your Facebook.
Six
Yeah.
6'5", 285, and what a gentle giant he was. That caused a lot of grief in my life when he passed away. But anyway, when him and I were working on doing web series, like movies, like we would, film this, and then we were like thinking web series, like and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
working on a vampire, kind of dark vampire-ish, and some other stuff, right? But I had Andrew. I would like just dictate, and Andrew would be he types really fast, right?
Nice.
Yeah. So I remember the first time when I started giving him, a part of the story and how it started. The very first page. He was like looking at me, going, "Did this really happen?" He just had this like creeped out look, like he's typing and looking at me like, are you sure? Like, and then takes a break and he's like, how do you come up with all that? Well, I could actually just walk back and forth in the room, and if I was dictating, I see it in my head like a movie. That's
Hmm.
how I see everything. I don't know. Do you work like that? Is that how you do it too?
I do. What my process is it's fascinating sometimes. It's fascinating to me, so I don't know if it's fascinating to others. But I literally lay in a bed, I put a blindfold on, and
Oh,
I project as if I'm on stage doing a training or coaching or speaking,
oh yeah.
and that's how it comes to me. And then all of the and so it's almost like a comedian when they go to the comedy store and work out their material.
Right,
It's the
right.
same for me. And so once I work it out on in my mind, blindfolded on stage, I come
Mhm.
back and boom, I just put it in.
Ah, that's
Yeah.
funny that you would say do that because, like, when I go on stage for anything when I used to compete in dancing and stuff like that, except for when I had a dance partner. Anything I did solo, I never practiced. I don't believe in practicing, only in my head, just like you said. Like you put a blindfold, I close my eyes, I listen to the music, and I picture it all in my head. I know the moves. As long as I know the music, doesn't matter. You can any music as long as I know it. You can play it, and I can dance to it, or I can
Wow,
do
that's
whatever. Yeah,
amazing. That's
yeah.
awesome.
But
That's awesome.
if you put me in a room with a choreographer, another choreographer, and you say, Latia, do what the choreographer is doing, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't.
Wow.
It's almost like a mental block. It's as soon as
Sure.
I'm having to follow somebody else's footsteps, and it's got nothing to do with rebelliousness or stubbornness. It's just I think
That's
it's
the way your brain processes.
yeah, but I think what it is too is it's because a little a complex, I think, because I was never a trained dancer, never a trained singer, never a trained anything. So as soon as you put me with somebody who's actually trained in the arts of choreography, dance, ballet, jazz, although I can fake it, I can shake and fake it. Um, I just get tongue tied, or like I just freeze and I can't
Wow.
do it.
That's
Yeah,
fascinating.
absolutely. Do you
That's
remember the
fascinating.
movie Breakdance? Do you remember
Oh
that
yeah.
movie? Okay. Well, I actually was at the tryouts, and I could have been in the movie. Right. The moment they said it was Michael, I think Michael Sambello was the choreographer, and you know who he is. He's
Yeah. Yeah.
huge name. So yeah, there we were. It was like about 30 of us, and you had to do this and you had to do that. 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm like, I don't even know how to count when it comes to dancing like that, right? Like I just look at everybody, and everybody's in their attire, and there I was, just dressed like good old me. And
Wow.
I couldn't do it. And my boyfriend at the time, he auditioned for it, and he actually made the cut. But he said to me, he goes, what's the block, like why would you not do? I said, well, I can't do what he's making all you guys do. I can't follow like that fast. I work differently. So if now what I should have done was I screwed up. I should have stayed behind, because the casting director said, if any of you guys, okay, that would like to do freelance, and see, I didn't stay for that. If I would have done the freelance, I'm sure. And it's my fault. I chickened out. I copped out because I didn't
But a
want to
great
be
life.
embarrassed.
That's a great life lesson for not just for you, but also for your clients and for your fans as well in life.
Absolutely, yeah. No, failures, I think, are probably the best lessons we could ever learn.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I
it's
agree.
not nice, right? But if we don't fail, we'll never really know the difference between success, good success, real success.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. So
yeah.
how can new fans get a hold of get some Latia? Because you are all over the internet. I'm sure they could just type your name in. But what's your I guess social media of choice?
Preference? Um, Pretty much Facebook for now. Facebook.
And so they can put your name in. Spell your name out, because Latia Del Riviero. A lot of people, how do
Yes.
I spell that?
Well, I put a different last name now, because I don't know. Facebook came and said, I don't know if somebody tagged me or whatever, but I've been Del Riviera for how many years? But then Facebook said, oh, we don't think your name is legitimate. So I said, okay. So I changed the last name, and they took that, and so now I have the Latia Del Riviero page, and then there's Latia Lapre, Lapre. Um, you can type. There's only one Latia, I believe. So there's
Yep, there's only
Latia.
one of you.
Yeah, there's only one.
There can be only one, ladies and gentlemen. There can only be one.
One. So yeah, basically Facebook, YouTube. I have a channel under Latia Del Riviero, which has like home workouts and a few gym workouts. But my main channel was taken off. I think I was
Yeah,
telling you
we
that.
talked about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right, right.
We're gonna get that all set up and back up there and everything, so the fans can love you all over the world again.
Yeah. Well, you know, for the YouTube channels that I have right now, I think probably the reason why it got flagged, they said I was breaking rules. What rules? I was giving away too many free videos.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I mean, let's not kid ourselves. I mean, they're talking about, oh well, something about, there was definitely nothing pornographic, but there were, you know, some guidelines that I broke. But I have a clips for sale store,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, and I mean, some people think, oh well, that's an adult. Yes, yes, it is. But your store, you can have anything in your store at the clips
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and my store is like, seriously, it's photo shoots, discussions, workouts, you know, just good stuff. And
Good
there's
stuff.
no, yeah, there's no, so if somebody was looking for pornographic material, you couldn't find it in my store.
Right.
So you kind of have to know Latia to want to go and shop in her store, because I only have foot videos. That's about I'm thinking of maybe doing a hair fetish thing.
Oh wow. Well, hey, I don't have one, but I sure the hell look like I need it, don't I?
No,
Uh,
I actually like you like that. That's
I
such a
couldn't even,
close
I couldn't even
shave.
picture myself with hair now. It would just be so wrong for people
You're so wrong.
to see me like that. Because you know, I got, you know, if it grew back, it wouldn't grow here. It would grow everywhere else. It
All
wouldn't be
right,
pretty at all. Oh
it's
boy.
amazing.
I would look like Steven in Django Unchained. Like I would look like Samuel Jackson. That's exactly how it would look. It would be pitiful. It would be pitiful. Andrew wouldn't even talk to me anymore. It would be over. We wouldn't be friends. I can't be around you, Philippe. I don't want to know you. So 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 yeah, do some hair. Hey, do you? As they say, do you, boo boo, do you? Uh, give us the name of the book again. Your autobiography.
Who am I? I am you, and it's on Amazon.com.
Amazon.com. Digital sex work is on Amazon.com. You
Yeah,
got a new book that you're going to be working on. We're going to push you to get that darn thing done.
yeah.
We can put your name into YouTube and Facebook and get all of your video. Your fitness videos are amazing. I've watched some of them. They are amazing. You really train hard.
They're fun though. They're fun videos,
Yeah,
right?
they're fun. But you
They're
got
almost like
thank God I'm doing this privately in my home. I wouldn't want to be in a, you know, it's like, wow, I look like a little bitch doing this. I just really, how in the hell?
okay, Philippe. So we do need to give you some hair.
You need to give me some hair. Oh boy. You know what? If anybody can do it, you'll do it. We'll come back on the show and I'll have hair. I'll only do it with you. God knows I'm not going to do it with anybody else. I swear to God. Right? And we might have to do it on Snapchat so it can disappear real quick because I can't have that up forever. For 1 hour, ladies and gentlemen, or for 15 minutes, you'll be able to see me with hair, and that's it. It's gone forever.
Okay, can I charge for that?
Yeah, you'll make a lot of money. We might be able to do this. You know, that'd be worth. Yeah, that'd be really worth something. That'd be really. I might get on Oprah after all.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my gosh! You know, I just love you to pieces. I really, really appreciate
I
you
love you
being
too.
here and taking the time out to do it because I know you're always busy doing something. Looking at your Facebook, you're always running around doing stuff and just crazy. So I really appreciate you taking time out. Uh,
Thank you.
parting thoughts, motivation for a woman in her 50s right now that either had it and maybe lost it, or she's aging and she doesn't really feel as sexy or attractive as she used to be, or the one that has never worked out and is scared to death but is willing to try something. What advice would you give those two types of women?
Okay, so the first one is that they were once in shape. Is that what you're
Mm-hmm.
that had it but lost it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I would say to that person would be, you know, listen, sister, because you've been it at one time, you can do it again, obviously, right? And what I would actually suggest is for the woman to go on a vacation, but not to spend money on clothes. Like clothes is just to hide your body, but to actually, you know, go on a vacation where she will feel pampered, like, you know, how do I explain this? Yeah, spa, or even, you know, like Maui, something like that, where she is spending time with herself.
Mm-hmm.
And the makeover stuff, that's good for some women, but I think if a woman was in shape before, or, you know, had it going on before and just maybe became depressed, and I'm saying this because that's how I would do it for me whenever I get kind of down. I just, I'd be home doing nothing, and, you know, I just start putting makeup on, trying different makeup on, you know, and I
Mm-hmm.
get dressed up for myself. Because if you do anything for anybody else, it's for them, it's not for you. So you still don't feel good about yourself because you're doing it for somebody else. So what I always did for myself when I didn't feel good, I forced myself to have to deal with it. Like, strip yourself down naked, okay, bitch about this, bitch about that. Now, the prettiest dress I have, or a dress that maybe I don't even fit in anymore, I'll try that. Okay, not that one. Okay, until I found a dress that I felt pretty in. Because we're talking about what you're asking me is like how to feel attractive again, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that has something to do with what's in here, right? So the body will come after the mind has decided it wants to get back in shape. And for the woman that has never been in shape, well, I would suggest definitely, you know, look through magazines, decide, you know, oh, I like that body, and then contact a professional who just won't, you know, who's not just ripping you off and taking your money and making sure that you don't get any kind of results, you know. To have a personal trainer that I can promote the personal training part, but at the same time, it's really important that the personal trainer doesn't just tell you, okay, lift that dumbbell, do 10 more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen
Well,
personal
maybe they should
trainers.
just call you. I think that's how we're going to do it.
Look at your
You can't
face.
go wrong, right? So if you're out there and you're getting ready, you want to get back in the game, or you've never been in the game before, reach out to Latia, and she will get your mind right, and then you'll have your body right, right?
Yeah, thanks, Philippe. You were so funny. You should have seen the.
It's the truth. I'm listening to you now, and she's like, well, you need to do. I'm like, no, just call Latia. What you doing? You know, come on now. Don't be modest. I know you shy like that.
Just call me.
Just call you. What the hell? I don't need to do all of this other stuff. I don't get, you know, the dresses in my closet and all. No, I don't need to. I call Latia. That's what I'm gonna do. Uh, so I just love you and appreciate you so much. And you know, we've spent a good deal of time, and I haven't. There's so much more we want to talk about. So, would you make the choice? Since you like to choose, will you make a choice to come back on the show again?
Oh, absolutely, Philippe. You know I can't ever say no to you. You know that.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. All right, I love you, darling.
I love you back.
Thank you for being with me.
Yes, thank you, Philippe.
All right. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Philippe Matthews Show After Hours. It's been with a wonderful time with my good friend Latia Del Riviero, Latia just Latia. Okay, it's just Latia, people. Call her. Talk to you soon, guys. See you soon.